Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any video that I posted in the past. Now, with my fast cooking system, with flavor chasing, advanced prepping, stir frying, and template-based cooking, I spend very little time actually think about what I want to cook each night. Most of the evening, I start out by asking my wife what she would like to eat. And she usually would give me ideas like I like shrimp, or I like tofu, or I like fish. But then tonight, she told me I like to have that crispy pork that you cook. Now, what you mean by that crispy pork is that it's a pork dish that I cook with ground pork. I always have them in my advanced prepping. So all I need to do is thaw it out, and then using my dry marinating method is the same method that I use for almost all my meat proteins. I covered it with a little bit of cornstarch, and then I also add a small amount of my Walk with Tak basic seasoning mix. And this is followed by some addition of sugar. Now, this method is a very effective method for almost cooking most meat proteins. Now, the fish is not as good, but meat protein works really well because this method is referred to as dry marinating. I do not use any wet ingredients to marinate the pork, and so it will be very dry, and the dryness will help it to sear, and as you will show you later, it will cause it to char. And then I look in the refrigerator. I always have some onions, and most of my stir fry, I use onions as a foundation. And this is followed by also some carrot is also my other foundational vegetable ingredients. Having this is really useful because you don't have to think about it too much. And then I look into my refrigerator. I have some fried tofu, and I have some left. I used some earlier. And then I also have some fresh shiitake mushroom that I purchased earlier last week. And so I'm going to finish it up. And then I also going to use some portobello mushroom as well. Now, all of this is all ready to go. The other ingredients that I have, which I need to spend a bit of time, is some green beans. I actually have some green beans I need to use up. So I blanch all of them, and I'm going to use half of them. And then I also find some bean sprouts that I purchased. So I thought it would be good for me to finish it up. And last but not the least, I'm going to use some cherry tomatoes as well. Now, this is why advanced prepping is so important, because otherwise I will not be able to cook a dish with all these ingredients. Okay, now I'm ready to start to cook. I'm going to cook this dish in my Cuisinart 14-inch stainless steel wok. Now, this dish actually is really important for the wok to be well seasoned. Now, even then, the ingredients still might stick because different type of food ingredients have different properties, which I will talk a bit later, why foods tend to stick even after you season it. And that's why sometimes it's so difficult. But the spot seasoning method is very easy. I simply heat up the oil until it starts to smoke gently. I turn down the heat. I let it smoke gently for 15 seconds. I turn the heat back up. And now the oil is at its highest temperature. I'm ready to cook. Now, this dish, I use ground pork. Now, ground pork is unique for making this dish because ground pork has the kind of fat which is very similar to what you find in bacon. The fat creates really great flavor. In fact, ground beef do not have this property. So what I'm doing is that I'm doing like a shallow frying. I'm frying the ground pork on one side. I'm going to fry it until it starts to char. Now, the cornstarch, after coating the ground pork, will give it a crispy texture. As my wife called it, the crispy ground pork. In fact, this texture actually very similar when you fry bacon or when you fry sausage. If you can imagine what it tastes like, this is what it will be like. It's really delicious. So the next step is that I'm going to add some onion. The onion is great for create a nice flavor. And the other ingredients I always have on hand, and I find it really great for almost any type of stir-fry dishes, is carrot. But you don't need to add very much. And this is why advanced prepping is so useful, because you can add whatever amount that you would like. And different dishes can use different type of amount. And this is followed by some fried tofu. Now, the fried tofu sometimes is important. I discovered that it is much better when the fried tofu is in small quantity. When it's too much, you might find it overwhelming. And this is one of the reasons in the past I do not like tofu that much, because when you have a tofu dish, all you have is tofu or maybe a couple other things. You pretty much get tired of it really quickly. Okay, now I'm going to put in some mushroom. Now I'm going to put in two kinds of mushroom. The first one I put in is a fresh shiitake mushroom. Again, I got it at the Chinese supermarket. And then I'm going to put in some regular mushroom. Now these two mushrooms actually combined together will give really great flavor to the dish. Now at this point you notice that the bottom of the wok, number of things has stuck to it. And mainly it's the ground pork. Pork has a tendency to stick. And then I'm going to add a bit more cooking oil, because the mushroom really take up oil. If I do not have enough oil, the sticking will get worse. But still, as you notice that at this point, I'm not too worried about it, because I'm going to solve this problem a little bit later. Now I'm going to season the dish. I'm going to season it very lightly because the dish will have already great flavor. I'm going to use about 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. Again, by using oyster sauce for almost all my dishes, it makes things much simpler. And I can enhance the flavor. In this case, I'm going to add about a half teaspoon of this chili sauce with fermented black soybean. Now this will actually enhance the flavor of the dish. And my wife really enjoys fermented black soybean, and this is the reason I always have it on hand, and because I like to cook what she like. And then next, I'm going to use my spot cleaning method. I'm going to spray a small amount of water over the surface, and it's like a steam cleaning. As you notice that once the water hit the wok, it starts to actually boil almost immediately and turn into steam. And I use my wok spatula. I'm able to easily scrape them off. And this is nice to have a stainless steel wok spatula, because basically you can use it like a scraper as well. As you can see, I am very effectively able to remove majority of the things that have stick to the bottom of the wok. And this method is really great, because if you don't do this, cleaning the wok later on is going to be a lot of work. But once you do this, it will take you only a matter of seconds to clean the wok. And next, I add the green bean. Now, the green bean has been in the refrigerator for a bit longer than I would like. And so what I did is that I blanched all of them. And this allowed me to use it in a couple dishes. Once you blanch them, you basically stop them from deteriorating, and so they can last a little bit longer. So I used the water bottle to put a little bit more water onto the surface of the wok, and I continue to clean the wok. And by now, the wok actually looks really good. I do a taste test and to decide whether this is the flavor that I would like. And this is part of flavor chasing. And I decided I like it to be a little bit saltier, so I add additional oyster sauce. Now, the flexibility of oyster sauce is that instead of using soy sauce, the oyster sauce can be used to enhance the saltiness of the dish. And then I'm going to add some bean sprout. Now, again, the bean sprout, I obtained them about a few days ago when I was shopping in the Chinese supermarket. And I've been actually thinking about growing them myself. The bean sprout actually is really great because they have a very interesting texture. And by adding it toward the end, you will maintain that texture and give the dish a nice crunchy flavor to it. Okay, the dish is done. As you can see, it's very fast to cook. Now, this is a relatively complex dish with many ingredients. And then, last but not the least, I'm going to add just a few cherry tomatoes. Now, the cherry tomatoes plays actually a really important role. One is that, of course, it's flavor. I love cherry tomato, and after you cook them just briefly, they will still remain intact. So when you eat them, when you bite into it, you have this burst of flavor, and this is really delicious. But the cherry tomato also play an important role because it serves as a garnish. It can enhance the appearance of the dish. Now, this dish is relatively drab in color because the only thing I have other than the green bean and the carrot, I really do not have any other ingredients that can brighten up the dish. And one solution to this is to add something that can stand out, and the cherry tomato plays an important role. And then in this case, having color to a dish frequently will make the dish more appealing. So basically what I did is that I set the cherry tomato aside when I transfer the food onto the serving plates, and then I layer the cherry tomato right on top of the dish. Now this dish also starts out with a bed of white rice underneath it. And this makes the rice taste really good because the sauce from the dish will permeate into the rice. So as you can see, this dish contains 8 different kinds of vegetables. And the vegetables, the diversity itself, not only nutritionally is a great benefit, but more importantly is that it makes the vegetable taste great because now you can, each bite have different kind of vegetables. And this is why my fast cooking system with flavor chasing, advanced prepping, stir frying, and tempeh-based cooking provide you with that possibility to create complex dishes. And these complex dishes, the best of all is that it really takes very little time to put together. And so consequently is that you are more likely to cook dishes like this. So I post a video each day, and really my goal is that to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine, so you can find it both spontaneous, fun, and creative. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.